Hey everybody, this is Derek with PreCentral.net. Today we're taking a quick look at a new phone from HP. This is the HP Veer. As you can see, it is a tiny little phone. It has a 2.63-inch touchscreen capacitive display. Underneath this gesture area, we've got your speaker and your sensors up top. And we'll turn it around here on the back. You have a 5-megapixel camera, and the speaker, there is no flash for the camera. On the sides here, we have your volume switch, your SIM card slot up here on the top, which is held in by this little rubber flap that it turns out it's actually kind of a pain to get back into place. There we go. And you have your standard palm ringer switch and the power button. Now on the side here, you'll see there is this funky magnetic connector. It's a concession that HP made to get the phone down to this size. It's both power and headphones. We'll hook it up with power here. There are 2 magnets on either side and 5 pins. You hook it up and there you see it's charging and it snaps right off, pops back on. Nice and easy to use. The only problem is it's the only phone that uses this, so you have to carry it around. This is also the headphone adapter because that's actually the big part. And you see it's this little funky thing that snaps on. It has a 3.5mm jack and the 2 magnets and 5 pins that the power connector had, and you just take your headphones and plug them right in here. It's a bit tight, at least initially. I don't know if this will break down over time, but you pull it in and you can actually pull the headphones off with the magnetic connector and it snaps right back on. Now this adapter only does attach in one way, which is with the headphones pointed down, which could be a problem for some people when using the phone. Of course, this is an HP phone, so we slide it open here, and there's a nice keyboard here. It's a tad smaller than the Pre-2 keyboard, but it's got a nice hump to all the keys, and the slider action is actually quite solid. And on the back, the return of the good old mirror. This mirror is actually flat and doesn't have all of the bending that the Pre had. And go ahead and speaking of the Pre-2, let's go ahead and compare this to its bigger, slightly older brother. Here we are, the HP Veer and the Pre-2. You can see the Pre-2 just absolutely dwarfs the phone. The Veer is smaller, a little bit thinner. They've both got cameras on the back, all that jazz. And if we open up the keyboards here, you can see the difference and compare the two. They're fairly similar in layout, although the Veer's is about 1 key narrower in width than the Pre-2. They've both got glass displays, they've both got beefy processors and RAM and all that stuff. They're both very capable little phones. We'll go ahead and open up the browser with speedtest.net here to give the Veer's HSPA plus radio a good speed testing. There's been some contention going on about the phone because it's been marketed by AT&T as a 4G phone, so we're going to test out the speeds here. We're going to go ahead and turn off the Wi-Fi, even though it's not connected to a network right now, just to be safe. And we'll go ahead and open up the Flash portal here to test the speeds. Speedtest.net tests it by testing the ping, the download speed, and the upload speed. Now, AT&T is advertising this as a 4G phone, but they're giving it some qualifications. They're saying it's HSPA plus with enhanced backhaul. So saying that really, while the cell towers might be able to handle the HSPA speed, their backhaul, the fiber lines that connect the towers to their processing centers and servers and all that stuff, may not be quite up to snuff. Now, we've been testing this phone throughout Ohio, actually hit Cincinnati, Columbus, and Akron during our review time, and the download speeds have actually been pretty decent. You can see here we're getting up close to about 4 megabits per second. And the upload speeds, however, haven't been all that great. The best that we managed was about 1.1 megabits per second, and usually around 0.2 to maybe 0.7 megabits per second. But you can see it's still fairly fast, at least as far as downloads are concerned, and it just absolutely trounces the Pre and Pre Plus on Pre-2 on Verizon and Sprint. There's just no comparison. Now, a new feature for the Veer is actually support for carrier billing through purchases made through the app catalog. We're going to go ahead and walk you through the setup here as soon as the app catalog finishes loading. There we go. And okay, it's not quite there yet. We'll dismiss the menu and bring it back again. You go under Preferences and Accounts. And you see there's now an option for carrier billing in addition to your credit card. You log in with your password. We'll go off screen and enter it in and come back. And it takes a couple of seconds for things to get authorized here. And then it gives you the option where you have to set up your state. This is presumably for tax purposes. We'll select Ohio because that is where I am. And there we go, and hit continue, and it gets it all set up. And there we go, you now actually have the option to select your default. You can choose credit card or your carrier account. We're going to leave it on carrier and go ahead and demonstrate how this works. We'll do a quick search for Need for Speed. Nice fun PDK game. It's been out for a while and it's available on the Pixie, which is nice. There aren't a whole lot of PDK games that are available for the Pixie, but this is one of them. You tap the purchase one and it tells you it's going to be charged to your carrier account. You still have the options to use a promo code or cancel. We'll just go ahead and hit purchase here. Authorization for purchase does take a little bit longer over the carrier account, presumably because it is going through AT&T servers instead of just going straight to your credit card as you do with a regular app catalog purchase. But as soon as it's authorized, it says yes, and it starts downloading. Inside the HP Veer, you will find a Qualcomm processor clocked at 800 megahertz. It's the same processor that you'll find in the T-Mobile G2. There are also 512 megabytes of RAM and 8 gigabytes of storage. The 512 megabytes of RAM is the same as you'll find in the Pre-Plus and the Pre-2, which we've seen to be quite adequate. The Veer is running WebOS 2.1.2, which means you have exhibition, stacks, and just type search and all that jazz. And looky there, the email receipt for our purchase over carrier billing has shown up, just as Palm receipts always do, show up nice and quickly. We're going to go ahead and jump ahead, open up a bunch of apps here. See, we have Pre-Central's mobile site opened up in a browser here. We'll flip up to Card View, we'll try that again. And we've got a whole bunch of sites, including Tipby and Crackberry. We've got Google Maps, which loads nice and fast over HSPA, a bunch of preferences and a nice little stack. Our email, we've got Feeder and Carbon, and you could just like that, you can move your stacks around. And Angry Birds, a PDK game, one of the few that are available in the Pixie size. And even with all this stuff open, it runs fantastically smoothly, and we can kill pigs all day long. And we'll go back here. We've got our original speed test card still up and running, and our download of Need for Speed has finished and installed while we were opening up and trying out all this application. So we'll go ahead and launch it up here. And this is where things start to bog down with a bunch of applications, including some heavy PDK type apps open. It starts to bog down, but once it gets going, it rolls along just fine. AT&T does have a 6-month US exclusive on the Veer, which you can expect to be hitting their network on May 15th for a fairly reasonable $99 with a 2-year contract. We don't know what the off-contract pricing is just yet. And we have completed a full, complete, and comprehensive review of the Veer on Pre-Central, so you should go ahead and check that out. And we'll, of course, have more coverage on the Veer coming up on Pre-Central in the next couple of days. In the meantime, this has been a quick look at the AT&T HP Veer.